What's up guys, Asian here with kind of an update video, just kind of tell you guys what's happening in terms of what I'm doing on the PTS, kind of covering what you can expect to see once the patch goes live, you know, what kind of videos you can expect to see, as well as a little bit of an update on my personal life, which will affect kind of the video schedule, how often I'm going to be able to upload videos from now on. Um, so as you guys all know, the PTS has been up and about for Dragon Bones, and I've kind of been holding off testing for the most part, at least until this week, this latest iteration of the patch notes, mainly because the target dummies, they weren't behaving properly. So basically what was happening was the target dummies were not immune to the the dummies didn't have the off-balance cooldown, so any tests that I did on the dummy weren't going to be accurate to an actual boss scenario. So, you know, what I've tried to do last week was try to get a couple of blood spawn parses in, just so I can get an idea of what I should do. And kind of hoped that Zos would fix this kind of bug or kind of oversight, I guess. So I had a friend, we just basically parsed a little bit on Bloodspawn and Vet Spindle Clutch 2, but you know, that was very time consuming and very long. We had to reset the dungeon every time we wanted to do a new parse, so it was very time consuming and didn't get very good data. I didn't get the kind of data that I wanted. But now that they've updated the dummies so that they actually share off-balance cooldowns with the bosses, I'm able to go back and start testing out different builds here. So there is going to be a meta shift for Magicka DPS and probably for stamina DPS as well. The big one that I'm going to share that I'm pretty much almost 100% certain on is that the VMA Lightning back bar is going to be swapped out for a VMA Inferno back bar with the drop into off-balance uptime. Basically, they kind of standardized it to this most recent patch notes, where it's basically every 5 seconds, or rather 5-second duration every 15 seconds, so basically a 33% uptime. So, you know, the exploiter passive, the 75 points in the thaumaturge, that's going to go away, and you're not really going to see lightning walls anymore because, you know, maintaining off balance doesn't require so many lightning walls anymore because you're not able to get more than 33% uptime on off balance. So you're going to see a lot of Magicka DPS shifting away from lightning staff back bars and to inferno staff back bars. The only class that's kind of a little bit iffy on is going to be Magicka sorcerers. I still need to do a couple more tests to figure out whether lightning back bar is better for sorcs. There are a couple of variables I kind of want to control for before I, you know, finally make a decision. But this is probably something that's going to be going in live. Now, unless they change off balance again, which they might. You never know how things like this work. You know, this is probably going to go live, and you're probably going to see a lot of people using Inferno back bars. So that's pretty much the big thing for Magicka DPS that I've managed to figure out. But everything else is still kind of up in the air. What sets are going to be used, we don't know. I don't know if Burning Spellweave is going to be best for every single class. I haven't tested it on all the classes yet, but you know, we'll have to see whether or not Burning Spellweave is going to make a comeback versus Julianos. We're going to have to see what kind of DPS a Magicka DK is able to pull now that they finally standardized off balance. It is going to be a nerf to Magicka DK DPS. I'm not anticipating them pulling higher compared to what they are pulling currently on Clockwork City. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think it's going to be. But again, I'm going to have to test it out on a dummy in order to see and compare them to parses that I have on Clockwork City to kind of see what the drop in DPS is, if there is a drop at all. So beyond that, for stamina DPS, that's going to be a little bit trickier to figure out how these off-balance changes are going to affect you using dummies, just because stamina DPS don't have a source of off-balance typically, so it's very hard to test how off-balance is going to affect your stamina DPS in a raid. because when an enemy is off balance and you hit them with a heavy attack, you get 70% additional damage on your heavy attack. So Stamina Tunes, DPS, and Clockwork City are kind of emphasizing that. So basically taking advantage of that 70% extra damage and using basically heavy attack rotations. That's not going to be as strong in Dragon Bones because, again, off balance is going to be at a lower uptime, 33% uptime max. So you're not going to be able to really capitalize on that heavy attack boost anymore. So we're probably going to see a shift to light attack meta for stamina DPS. You're probably going to see 1 or 2 heavy attacks at max in a stamina DPS rotation, just in order to help out with the sustain. Red cards are probably going to become even more prevalent among stamina DPS because they just do have better sustain compared to other stamina DPS races. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating. Again, it's going to be hard to test this on a dummy, so I'm probably just going to end up doing a couple of raid parses with my stamina DPS tunes to kind of give you guys an idea of what the DPS you're able to pull in a raid scenario. I'm considering also doing that for all my Magicka DPS classes. If I do end up doing this, it's going to take a while for me to release all of my builds because I don't raid every single day. I raid basically Thursdays through Mondays, and even then I'm only really playing DPS on Fridays and Saturdays, really, for Hellfire Dominion. For Mayflower, I'm depending on whether we're doing VAS hard mode or we're going to go back to Maul potentially in March to do Dramatha Destroyer, I may be doing Magicka DPS only, I may be doing Stamina DPS only, or I may be tanking. We're going to have to see with Mayflower because that's kind of dependent on which members are able to make certain days. So if I do end up using raid parses for my build videos to kind of give you guys an idea of what you can pull in an actual raid, expect my build videos to come out, to kind of trickle out, maybe like 1 or 2 a week, just because I'm not necessarily going to be able to record all of my different builds in a single night or even a single week. I'd probably be able to only cover 2 or 3 different DPS specs at most in a given week. So if I do that, don't expect me to release all my build videos right away. It's going to be kind of a slow trickle as I do raids with those DPS tunes. So that's pretty much it in terms of the PTS and patch notes videos coming up. You can expect, updated build videos. I'm going to have to redo a couple of theory crafting videos just to kind of explore new questions that are coming up that are going to arise out of the meta. I am still going to explore mechanical acuity because it is a very potent set. I think that with the shift off of the off-balance meta, we're going to see mechanical acuity become a lot more powerful, but that's just my feeling. I kind of already released several videos already about my feelings on mechanical acuity, so we'll have to just wait and see, and I'll do a couple of raid parses and figure that out. But yeah, there are going to be a couple of new questions, particularly, for example, Magicka DPS Race. Is Altmer still going to be strongest for Sorks? Are Sorks going to do double Inferno or Inferno Lightning? Magicka DKs, is Molten Whip going to be better than Flame Lash now? Which morph do you want to take? Magicka Wardens, how are there going to be, is Magicka Wardens actually going to be able to climb up and beat up Magicka DKs in terms of DPS? Who knows? So that's cool. Those are kind of the videos you can kind of anticipate seeing. I do have a couple more theory crafting videos in the works. Those are going to be released slowly throughout the month of February. Please keep sending in your ideas. They really help me think of new content as well as produce more content as well for you guys. And it's always nice to be able to clear some confusion up and kind of answer questions that we don't necessarily think about all the time when it comes to DPS. And we don't necessarily see people like Alcast and Field Turbo kind of exploring. Even if just because they're not necessarily what you would consider meta. Also, I will be making more non-meta builds, so I will be kind of doing, you kind of already saw a beginner DPS builds. I am releasing kind of solo Magicka DPS builds, stamina DPS builds. I will be releasing things like melee Magplar, alternatives, 551 setups for different classes. So these builds aren't necessarily going to be the best set in terms of absolute objectively best DPS, but they will pull good DPS nonetheless. So there will be vet trials ready. They're just going to be kind of different ways you can create DPS specs. Along with, I'm going to kind of be updating my healing and tanking videos as well. And you're going to see kind of more tailored videos when it comes to healing and tanking, depending on certain content. For example, in Asylum Hard mode, healing that is going to be very different compared to healing something like Vet HRC or Vet Maw. So you're going to see kind of videos, kind of healer and tank videos, support role videos, kind of focusing in more on what you would do in specific scenarios that might be out of the ordinary, that you might be doing in your guild as you progress through vet trials. For example, for tanks, if you are going to be an off tank, what kind of sets are going to be stronger on an off tank compared to if you're main tanking things, is Alkosh still going to be useful in this new meta? They did reduce the synergy cooldown back to 20 seconds from 30 seconds, so combine that with the easier use of synergies, Alkosh might actually become a lot more prevalent in progression guilds, but we'll have to see. We'll do an update video on Alkosh and things like that, so you can expect videos of that sort coming up pretty soon. So on to kind of what's happening on my personal life. It's going to kind of affect the how quickly I'm able to upload videos. So for those of you guys who don't know, I am a master's student right now in epidemiology. Attending Case Western right now, and my goal is to attend a doctorate program, so I do want to go for a PhD starting next semester, so in the fall. I already have applications sent out, and I have been hearing back from a couple of schools now. So I do have a couple of interviews coming up throughout February. I am also doing research as part of my master's degree, so I will be attending conferences here and there sporadically throughout the spring semester based on my research. So for example, I will be out for the first weekend of February attending a conference over in California, so I won't be able to produce any videos or produce any content while I'm there. I do have an interview scheduled for a potential doctorate program. That's going to be kind of in mid-February, so that's going to be another 2 or 3 days out where I won't be able to produce content. And as I hear back from schools, I might have interviews here and there. So don't expect a steady stream of videos from now on. Kind of expect a sporadic trickle. I will try to release videos at the very least every 2 or 3 days. But again, that's kind of going to be based on how quickly I'm able to go through the content. Particularly because I am not releasing any build videos or theory crafting videos on the changes in Dragon Bones until the patch goes live. So anything that's on the PTS, I am not going to be recording and releasing until it is officially released on the live server. That's kind of my personal view. Until things are finalized, I don't want to release any sort of information prematurely, because that might change, and then all that work pretty much goes to nothing, and you guys end up farming the wrong sets, or kind of take away the wrong source of information. So I kind of want to avoid that, so I won't be releasing any theory crafting or build videos until at least focus on Dragon Bones kind of stuff until it goes live. So that's pretty much it for this video. So the TLDR is I am testing things on the PTS. I will be uploading build videos once everything goes live, and I will be doing theory crafting videos once everything goes live. Because of my interview schedule and conference schedule, I won't be able to produce videos as frequently as I would like. I will try to produce and upload videos every 2 to 3 days, but don't expect them to come every day or every other day, at least for the foreseeable future. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next dungeon.